This is a cool economy 3.5 horsepower hit and miss gas engine I got a few months ago. Got it running good. Main problem it had when I got it, other than not running in a long time, is this was all filled up with fine dust, which got really hard, and it took hours to remove it. I had to pull the head off and get in there with the cable and wires and air compressor and all kinds of things to get it cleaned out, but it's pretty clean now. The engine has good compression, seems to run fine. The Waco EK magneto works fine. I think it might be missing a crank guard. I don't know if this ever had a crank guard. Doesn't look like it. Other problem with this engine, which is a minor thing, but there's a little bit of play in the rod bearing, which you can see there, and a little bit in the wrist pin. I can see a little bit of play there, and you can hear it when it runs. I've got another engine that's really tight. It runs a lot quieter, but yeah, this motor runs great. It's fun to see how it works. For those that don't know, it's got a cool governing system, being a hit and miss engine. These are the timing gears. That's the cam lobe. That's just for the exhaust valve, because the intake valve is a poppet valve that's just actuated by vacuum there. But in this case, the connecting rod here runs up through here, and there's a latch here. Here is a latch. And when the governor balls come out at high speed, it'll push that latch down like that. And that will prevent the exhaust valve from being able to close. So normally, the exhaust valve can close. But if I hold that latch, that will hold the exhaust valve open. So it'll have no compression. It'll suck no fuel. It'll also lock out the magneto, so there will be no spark. And that's how these things govern. They're always at full throttle, which is optimal for efficiency. It's always getting a full charge of gas and a full charge of air if it needs it. But if it doesn't need it, it gets nothing. That's why hit and miss engines are so neat and so thrifty on fuel. And they're fun to watch. I'll start this up real quick and show how it runs. When I got this, I just had shoulder surgery, so it was hard to start, and I wound up making this kind of weird ratchet crank. It actually works pretty well. It just slips on there. So when the engine starts, it's pretty safe. So I'll fire it up real quick. Maybe I can just put the camera over here. Maybe it'll work. Hey, watch that paw there. You see that latch open, and then it'll fire. And you can see the balls on the governor. is a stop switch. Pretty cool anyhow. So this is an economy engine. I can tell by the remains of the decal there. The same engine could come labeled as a Hercules and maybe a couple other things, I'm not sure. But it's a pretty neat old engine. A lot of fun.